Welcome to The Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. We are still in PODmas, and if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is Renee Patrice, your host. You're listening to The Queen's Lair, and I have a branding and marketing company, and we also do events as well. And I just share lifestyle advice, business advice, especially for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and just practical everyday living. Right now I'm covering one word subject matters each day of PODmas, and I have decided to go beyond Christmas Day and do the entire month of December. So for all the PODmas episodes, and they are tagged differently than the other episodes on my podcast. So they're all tagged PODmas, and you will find at the end of December there will be 31 PODmas episodes. I'm going to jump right into today's word. Today's word is faithfulness. So let me read a couple of definitions here. People who are faithful are often faithful in the transaction of doing business, the execution of commands, the discharge of official duties. Someone who is faithful is worthy of trust, a person that can be relied upon, right? A person that you can believe in, confide in, put your trust in. You can tell them something and they're not going to spread it around to the whole world and, do the gossip thing, right? Faithfulness, it's been very hard to keep that together, especially of us being in a pandemic that is going on 2 years old, which I can't even imagine, and actually ramping up right now because of these variants that are running rampant. It's very hard to be faithful. It's very hard to see God's faithfulness in all of this as well. And just because you're churchy, and please don't be offended when I say churchy. I say churchy because that's something that, the folks, kids and us that grew up in church and have that sort of background, we just do a play on the word and say churchy, but it's not to put anybody down at all. Those of us that come from that type of background, faithfulness is a word that we hear all the time. And it's very hard to recognize God's faithfulness in situations such as this. I definitely question God why my uncle is no longer here. That was very hurtful. He was just a great guy, married to his wife for almost 50 years, my aunt, and it's just like, why? Anyone that has lost someone, not necessarily to COVID, if you're tuning in for the first time, first of all, welcome. And yes, I did have a family member last year that passed away from complications with COVID. They already had pre-existing conditions, and they contracted COVID, and that was the thing that put all of their already existing ailments in a tailspin. And that was a lot to carry for the family. It was a lot we still, 2 years later, have still not had formal funeral, because at that time when my uncle passed, it was April 2020, and that was the height of the pandemic, the first wave, And of course, actually, everything was on lockdown at that time, so there was no funeral. It was basically graveside, and they were only allowing like 3 people. So that was a very tough thing for the family to experience all over the world, because we have family in the UK, we have family in Jamaica, we have family in Florida, family in New York, California, pretty much all over Canada. So that was a lot. That was definitely a lot. But here we are, almost going on 2 years later, because pretty much the year is over, and it is very hard to recognize God's faithfulness. And I'm not gonna lie. And I've told him so myself in my prayers. Like, where you at? Because I got questions and some complaints, But I'm sticking in there. Trying to make things happen. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, new business ventures and everything that I have attached myself to, which I'm so excited about. But it's very hard to have that faithful spirit. You know what I mean? I always pride myself on being a trustworthy person, someone that you can talk to anything about. I don't think there's anything that people have not told me. And it sticks with me. There's so many things that I know about people that if I was to ever decide to unlock that Pandora's box, it would be crazy. And I just choose every day to not do that, because I definitely have come to be known as a person that is very trustworthy. And I hope that shows to my audience who's listening, my family, whoever, But faithfulness, that is definitely another level to add to the list of the things that we have been talking about. We talked about goodness. We talked about kindness. We talked about patience, peace, joy, love. And like I said, coming towards the end of this, people will begin to understand why I'm covering these things. Some of my more churchy folks probably already figured it out, but this is a tough time that we're in, but we have to stay faithful. We have to stay close. We have to look out for each other. We have to start trusting each other more. We have to start lifting each other up more than we have been. Stop tearing each other down. Stop going into comments on Instagram and cutting people down. Like, what is that for? If you have time to be arguing with people in comments and social media, you have time? You got time for that? There's like 5 variants running around out there right now, and you got time for this? Why? It just doesn't make sense. And yes, some people deserve to, have a good, verbal lashing or whatever they want to call it. But that's like once in a lifetime type of thing. Like, that's not something that you are tasked with doing every day. Some people just get up and go on social media and just pop crap all day. For what? It just makes no sense. And you may not have kids, you may not have so-called people looking up to you, but people are always watching. You know what I'm saying? There may be a great deal for you in business, but because you went off on somebody in your comments, or you felt like you needed to say what I said, and all this sort of stuff. Really? It may stop you from doing business with somebody, because they may see that and be like, ooh, this is not the business I want to rock with. You know what I mean? So anyway, faithfulness is hard right now, and I understand it's tough, but we have to stay faithful to the original plan. It's okay if the road changes, but the goal stays the same, right? Be objective, be trustworthy. Be believable. Be sure about what you're doing. Stay true to the game. That encompasses faithfulness, right? And I know it's not easy to do, but I promise you, if you stick to these things, you go back and listen to these different episodes in this PODmas series that I'm doing. I'm telling you, I'm getting emails, I'm getting messages from people like, wow, this is really helpful. This is helping me. This is, really giving me something to think about. And so many places are closing down again and all this sort of stuff. So, hopefully we won't have to be dealing with a lockdown. But if we do, listen, podcast, that's actually the beauty that came out of such horrific situation as being in the middle of a pandemic. I was going to give up on my podcast and just pull it off the web. And then I found a new podcast system that was really great for managing your podcast episodes and editing and also doing monetization. And I said, all right, I'm going to try this one last time. And I never really had time to put into it. But what happened was we all had to have a healthy sit down because we were on lockdown. So I said, okay, well, what else are we doing? We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? We're all ordering in all the time. We're ordering Amazon for our groceries, everything that we need. We're hardly going to the store. So I said, okay, we're in lockdown. Let me really put 150% into this podcast. And we are starting from scratch because I had to download all of my episodes from the old system and upload them into the new system. So literally starting from zero to now creeping up on 40,000 downloads. That's because I stayed faithful. Okay, I stayed the course. Okay, I stayed the course. So I hope you find it inspirational. I hope that you can, get something from this every day. Like I said, I'm really enjoying doing these episodes every day. And I am 90% sure that in 2020, this will become a daily podcast. And that's going to take some work. It's going to take some maneuvering. But yeah, this is where we're at. So faithfulness, trustworthy, believable, objective, and true. Follow me on social media at Onyx Queen Media. If you want to email me, info@onyxqueenmedia.com. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Online savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With one click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/Onyx Honey. Start saving right now.